Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Cardcraft. Thanks for joining me again today. Paper bags, we get them in the millions and all the rest, but sometimes they're not quite the right size for what we want to do. Yes, we can refold them, we can use them as tucks, we can fold them over pages, but sometimes we just want a specific size. So today what I want to do with our altered book is make a couple of paper bags, two different types. So we're going to have just our standard paper bag. Now this has just been made from an op shop find actually. So it's the pages that come between sheets in a photo album. Now you can do this with glassine sheets, you can do it with tracing paper sheets, you can do it with this sort of thing. You can just do it with copy paper or anything else if you like. Anything will really work. I probably wouldn't go too heavy a cardstock or paper with them just because of what they are. You can, but for keeping bulk down in your journal a little bit, it's nice to play with really soft flimsy papers sometimes. So that will be number one. Number two paper bag, I want to show you how to make a gusseted bag. So easy. Okay, now this is just from packing paper, and I collect this everywhere, and I have friends that keep it for me and all the rest. You know the packing paper that you get and it's in tear off sheets? So, and it's always this craft colour but slightly different colours in the craft, and it'll come in different weights. So I grab them all the time, and I use them usually for the back of journal cards for writing on, things like that. But they work a treat for making real brown paper bags. So that'll be bag number two. Right, so bag number one, nice and easy starting point. So I've just got this sheet, as I said before, that's come out of a 12 by 12 album. I know it came from an op shop, but I think it was a pack of refills for one of the brands, you know, the Putty Planty type brands. So that had pages in there, and it had these between each one. So you'll find them also in other albums that you'll find at op shops, things like that. You might have them sitting in your stash already. So, sorry, all I've done is cut it round about in half. It already has a slight fold here where it would go in their album. I'm going to leave that there because I'm actually going to use that fold, but otherwise I'll show you how to fold it up. These are easy because it's just a matter of working out the size that you want, and we want a center seam, center part I was going to call it. So I like them. The one I've got here sitting over here is, let's have a look, about 3 inches. I usually do them anywhere between 3 and 4 inches depending on the book. So at the moment this one is at 3 1/4 inches. Look, that'll be fine. There you can see through this one, so you can see my centerpiece down here, and I'm just going to fold that right there, making sure this top section is straight, and just give it a little push with my fingers. No real measuring. I'm just going to sit it there and see if I've got everything nice and straight. That's looking pretty good. Let's have a look at that one. Yep, that's looking nice and straight. Don't you love it when things come out straight? So this one I'm actually going to trim back to about 1/4 inch so that it's got an overlap. So can you see where the other one is underneath? That's why I like these light coloured papers. So if I sit him there, I need to trim him about there so that we've got both of these with about 1/4 inch overlap sitting on them. So I'm just going to sit that down, trim that straight through. Trimmer does tend to cut these a bit better unless you've got a really sharp blade. I don't have a really sharp blade at the moment, It's got glue and all sorts of things on it, so just bear with me because I'm too lazy to reach over there and grab my trimmer. Right, so set that one back there. So in essence, here's our little bag. We'll have a fold there, we'll have a fold there, that will glue down there, and then we've got these ones. So this would have folded about here. So you can fold that anywhere you like. Give it a 1/4 inch, give it a 1/2 inch, anything. But what we want to do now is take out this section, and we want to take out that section. So you can do that with your blade, your scissors. I'm going to do it with my scissors, and I know it's not going to be straight, but I can rectify that as we go. So just up to each fold, then down to this one. Trimming along here. I'm hopeless with scissors, absolutely hopeless. I can turn that around so that I can go that way. I may need to trim a little bit more of this off if it won't sit in there perfectly straight. So there's our size now. So what have I got size wise? I've got about 5 1/4 inches, I suppose, and my finished size was round about 3 1/4, bit over. This will go like this. This will go like this. So you can see that they're down a little bit because that's going to foul that one going up. And that'll have a seam up there. So I'm going to trim a little bit further, but just on an angle. So back to this point. I don't want to go any further than that point, but taking a little bit off my ends. It'll be hidden by that bottom tab anyway, but it'll just mean that it'll sit a little bit better without bubbling or warping. So just straight down here like that. So you can see the tiny little amount that I've taken off. So if I sit those back in again now, you can see that they're a little bit shy of this fold, which will mean this one will come up. Make sense? Now, this guy's a little bit raggedy. I'm not overly concerned with that. It's just the fold. You can round your edges if you like, or just keep them square. For this one, I'm just going to keep them square. So the easiest way to do this, to glue it all together, is pop a bead down here. And I know the glue's working because I've been working on it this morning, so doing other things. So there we go. All right, pop that down there. Just hold it flat. Now, when we do this one, what I want to do is a bead up this center piece. Doesn't need to be too much. It's cold here today, so the glue's not running beautifully. So hang on a moment. Let me just, if I set that under there, you will see where I'm going, maybe, because you really can't see at this stage. Okay, so I'm just going up right on the edge of that side piece. Make sense? So this one, I'm going to go on the edge of this one, because then they'll fold over on top of each other, and it'll seal the whole thing down. So just straight in there. And now I need to go along this edge as well. Close to the edge as you can. We're just going to fold that over. And because we know we've gone on the edge of this one and the edge of this one, we're not catching any of our center piece. If you need to double check, pop your ruler in there and you can see you've got no glue anywhere. See how it's still giving you the full bag? Right, so same with this piece. Now when you're doing with a I don't know, a fancy paper, I suppose. You don't need that much decoration if you don't want, because you don't want to lose all of this pretty paper. Glassine looks beautiful in them as well. Right. See, that's folded down that rough looking edge, and it's just made it look a little bit older, which is what I like. So how hard was that? In 10 minutes we've done a bag. The other thing I like to do with my bags is, from my sewing days, I have a pair of pinking shears. Now, they're a Birch brand, you'll get them everywhere. You can get your little kids scissors that have all the decorative edges, any of those sorts of things. I like my pinking shears because they give me that same edge that a real bag would, and all I'll do is just trim off the top, match it up. So now what I've got is a little lunch bag type thing. I love doing these. Even though I've got so many paper bags, I still will usually sit down and make my own, because then I can get them to the exact size that I want. Okay, all you need for this one is to work out the size you want in the height and the size you want in the width, your finished size, and then just fold and trim. So you saw how easy it was. Now, to decorate something like this, you can decorate both sides if you want, and then you can tuck it into a pocket and have it as an actual finished thing. Actually, just over here, different type of one again. This one's made with tracing paper. This one I've just popped the thumbhole edge on. I love doing these ones as well. I use these all the time. So they're sitting over here in my finished pile. So, you know, how hard is that? Exactly the same way. All right. So you can, as I was going to say, if you're going to pop it into a pocket, decorate it so that it's slightly both sides. If you're going to have them so that they're stuck in, which is what I quite often do, and make another pocket out of them, which is what I'll show you in a moment, I will just decorate the front. So that's what we're going to do with this, and it's so easy to do. And I'll have bits and bobs sitting around here everywhere, if only I could find them. Oh, I know what I do have. I know what I do have. I've just been playing with some new stamps. So, what have I got here? Let's go that full background. I've just got myself some new background stamps. So, like if I do that, tear that one. So I've been sitting here this morning until everybody was up and gone from the house and I could have the house to myself, playing with some new stamps that have just come in. So I like that dragonfly down the bottom. So we want him in there. And I needed more background stamps, as in these sorts of ones. Always need new stamps. Simple as that. Right, so I'm going to sit you there. I still want a little bit of this glassine showing, or whatever it's called, and I'm going to take just a tad off this section up the top. And you'll see just how easy they are to decorate. So we just want a little bit. Let's have a look. There. Yeah, I could take it nearly down to that one. A little bit over. How's that? Right. And what I'm thinking of doing is tearing down there. Like so. So this was just stamped on some coffee dyed paper. It was literally just some scraps that I had sitting around so that I could see how these stamps worked, how well they worked. Whenever I get new stamps, I like to try them in my stamping platform and see where I need to push or however they work, and then I like to try them by hand with just my block, and again see exactly how they stamp and all the rest. And then I've got these beautiful bits sitting around, which is why I'll stamp them on my coffee dyed paper in the first place, so that when and if they work, I've got pieces to play with as well. Right, so that's how hard was that. I'm going to stick you down before we think any more about it. And then we better find some dragonflies. Don't know if I've got any dragonflies sitting around, and I've got butterflies. So let's have a look. Very quickly stick this down. Right. I want that fairly close to the edge on that side. Give that a push. Mind you, I haven't tried coffee dyeing this paper yet. Must do that. See if I can get some age into it. Maybe tea dye might age it up a little bit better. How hard was that? So we've given ourselves a background on this. What we're going to do is, if I go into, I've got dragonflies in stamps, of course. Do I have, I'm just looking across my doovies over here. Maybe you're in butterflies. Let's have a look. Not looking like it, is it? No. All right, time I started fussy cutting out some dragonflies, I'm thinking. Nope. No. All right. Well, there's this week's job on the road. Fussy cutting out some dragonflies. All right, so let's do something a little bit different. You're a bit big. I want that the other way. Oh, that's a nice colour. It's too large, but it can go down like that. That fits in there nicely. So let's just play with this for a moment. Go in. Right, sit you there. I'm wanting you, and I'm thinking I want some labels or something like that. I want him left in there. So if I go to, what did I do with them? Put you back under there, or I get glue everywhere. And I'm going to, I just picked all that up, popped it, and popped it where? Alright, I didn't put them away, but let's see what else I've got up here. Don't really want, okay. Here we go, here we go, here we go. That sort of colouring, a little bit lighter, and we will get, see, I sit everything in just so I can find them, and then I lose them. Yeah, it's all right. All right. They're all here. See, I told you I got new stamps. And that's what I was looking for, because the other side of that will give me the contrast. And I got some labels that I haven't tried yet, so let's, because you know me and my labels. Right, so labels, let's have a look and see how they go. These are just from Temu, which is why I like to try them. You never know what you're going to get, but I can't not get stamps. See, now this looks interesting. Let's have a look. You can't go past little label stamps, truly, really. Alright, so I might go a slightly different colour as well. You're going to fit that way. You will. Let's try it that way, so I can try a couple of different colours. Put it on straight to start with, Kylie. Don't let it bend. Right, that's straight, and that will fit just there. Remember, middle finger, thumb. So the colour I've originally done this with is Acorn. So let's try that one first and foremost. Let's try it up the right way now that I can see it. Give it a little bit of a rock. Again, I have no idea how this stamp's going to stamp. And it stamps beautifully. Right. So that's that colour. Let's try a grey, just for a little bit of contrast. So I'll do 2 or 3. We'll have a look at them and then work out which ones we like. So this is in the grey. Again, I'm still just using the VersaFine Clear. I like that, but I don't think it's going to stand up too much, which is Morning Mist. Do we look at the green to pick up the green in the leaves? Won't undo. So take your ink pad to your stamp. I do like the green. I do like the green. I'll do one more darker. So if I go to Fallen Leaves, which is a real murky brown. And we'll just try that one as well. See how it's not quite a black, it's not quite a grey, but it gives a lot of, it actually gives some good definition. So they are a nice straight size, so they're going to be easy to cut. And I'm just going to leave a little bit of an edge because I don't want to lose that fine line around them. It's really handy having label stamps because you can create any colour you like. You can just keep stamping them out. I want that dropped down. So I still want to highlight this one. So this is coming around, this is going up there, and maybe a number. Oh, got that bit left over. So let's go find a number. Number stamps, here we go. Right, so these ones are a mixture of Tim Holtz, Witchcraft Do You Do, and Close to My Heart with their little codes, but I use them as numbers as well. Here we go. So this is a Witchcraft Do You Do number, and that will work a treat in there, won't it? Put you back on there. Now I always use a little piece of foam for a stamping block. Colour-wise, so we go that beautiful fallen leaves again, I think. Yeah, it's such a lovely colour. So it's not really a black, but it just, such a lovely colour. So I'm thinking I want that one over that one under that. I'm going to stick this one down to start with, so that I can then stick that plant, is it a plant? Leaf? No. Branch. Maybe it's a branch. We'll call it a branch, will we? And I want my tweezers, just so I don't get quite so sticky. And of course I've stuck that, glued that right where the other bit was. It's going to be about there. Cloth. Okay. This one is going to go in here like that, and I'm going to trim that off about there, because I don't want it on this, on that glassine. I just want it on my actual stamped background. So to get this one off, just peel him back, lift him up, and then I'll use my tweezers to help so that I don't have too many fingerprints. This one is a large one, so I'm going to actually turn it that way, like that. How are we going? Still need to trim a bit more off that, don't I? So I'm just going to sit it down. There, and then oh look, not much. So we'll just trim that little bit off. There, like that. Okay, so that's down. Now, when I put these stickers down, I do like to use my bone scorer. I don't know, what do we call them these days? Burnisher. A little bit off there, so I will trim that bit up as well. So when I do this, it tends to take a little bit of the gloss out as well, and it puts it right down onto the page. Like so. There we go. Now I've got an edge there, I just need to trim off. The other reason why I don't always do them as pockets and pull them out is because I'm invariably covered in ink on the back as well. Invariably. Right, so this one I just want to trim down to size a little bit, because it's just a little bit overwhelming, I suppose, would be at the moment. Little ruler. Take that back to there. Blade. Bin. That side needs to go to around about the same as that one, which will be there. Am I still in shot? Yes, I have come down a little bit, haven't I? Right. That would be my glue. It's all right. Sorry, didn't mean to do that to everybody. Did I wake you up? That's looking pretty straight on that. So see how I've run that through. So I'm just going to take that up to that line. And then I can trim this down to size so that I know it's nice and straight. That one. And I'll take a little bit off this side as well. And down to that one. How's that? Oh, this blade's very blunt. Going to need to deal with that. All right. This one I want a little bit of edging with, just so that he will highlight up again. And do I want... See, now I'm playing, aren't I? Don't like... Oh, when in doubt, pull some cheesecloth out. Just gives it a little bit of texture, I find. So I'm going to try the two colours. So this is tea dyed. And we'll have a look at a little bit of coffee dyed. Coffee dye matches the... I actually think I like the coffee dye. Let's have a look. We'll just chop a chunk. Chop a chunk. Set that back there. Now this doesn't need to be anywhere near this long. I want it gathered a little bit. Like so. And it doesn't need to be as wide as that either, because I'm going to stretch it out. So that'll be a strip I'll use for something else. If I can get the sticky off my scissors. That's that sticker. Right. I just want to rough this up a little bit. And you all know when I put my cheesecloth on, I use my double-sided tape just to hold it on there so that I can arrange it artistically, I suppose, to how I actually want it. Right, so it's going that way, so this side's the top, and I like that bit that I've got there as the top. Let's have a look at what we've got. Yeah. Okay, so I like that in there. It's given me a little bit of, just a little bit of texture. It's still left the rest of it fairly plain. Sorry, I keep tucking my hair back. It's a bit flyaway and I keep hitting the microphone. So if you're getting that, I'm sorry. I'm apologising now. Okay. So I'm happy with that. It doesn't need much else. Actually no, I will need the fabric glue because I've got a little bit of fabric there, but I've got this shiny surface that it's going on. So I just want to doubly make sure, and I'll pop the fabric glue, which is a little bit heavier stick, you know what I mean. Again, it's cold here. I have just turned on the heater, but it's not been on long enough to make any difference to the glues yet. But the sun has just come out, I noticed. And it's really, really windy, which means I've got all my washing on the line. So I'm very happy with that. Oh, close, 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 close. Right. This is where I get so gluey. Alright, so I need some more dragonflies. And I want to get a dragonfly word, which I know I've got in the Witchcraft Do You Do stuff, but I don't actually have it here with me on the desk because there's too much else. I think it's in my to-go bag actually. So, right, that's that one. How hard was that? So let's just pop this away and I'll show you how to make a gusseted one and then how we can attach them to our altered book. Right, pop all those. So 2 completely different versions. Same but different, okay? And slightly larger for each. I'll pop those ones over there. And now what I want to show you is a gusseted one. Again, so easy, so easy. So I'm just going to set all these ones to the side. Pop that double-sided tape away. Pop my own folder away and some glues away. Look at that. Right, and we'll give us some space here. So, as I said, just this packaging. And I will just use this one. Now, again, I tend to work out the size that I want my finished size to be. I will also, when I'm doing gusseted ones, work from the centre out. I just find that it's easier to go that way. So with this sheet, I've got a big long ruler here that's 16 inches. So I find that these ones are around about 15 inches. So my halfway point for these is 7.5, okay? What I want is a 3.5 inch bag, I've decided, okay? So now that I've used this for my centre point, I'll just do it down the bottom down here as well, or close to. All right, so 7.5. So I've marked both of those. Get rid of that. And I can actually go back to my little ruler, which is nice and easy to use. So, as I said before, I want a 3.5 inch bag. So I've already got my halfway point, so I need a halfway for 3.5, which is 1 3/4 of an inch. Look at me go. I've worked it out. I've already worked it out. So if I measure here 1 3/4, all right, and back from this centre point, 1 3/4, that's my bag size. Okay, do the same down here. So 1 3/4 and 1 3/4. Okay. Then we're up to our gussets. General rule of thumb, when I'm doing these sorts of ones, I usually like a 3/4 of an inch gusset. Okay, I find the 1/2 inch is not quite large enough, so I usually give myself a 3/4 of an inch gusset. So again, we're going to measure from that last point, 3/4 of an inch. That's one side of our gusset. So we'd need that again for our next piece of our gusset. 3/4 of an inch. Okay, does this make sense so far? You'll follow the same thing down here. So going over 3/4 of an inch, and then another 3/4 of an inch. Okay, do the same on this side. It's all just mirror imaged from that center point that you did. So 3/4 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch. They are your gussets. So that makes them nice and easy. In a moment, I will give you some measurements written down, if you can follow on. Okay, so our bag is 3.5 inches. But we still want to have that centre fold. So to do what we did originally, which was the halfway point, which was 1 3/4 at the end, is only going to make your bag meet. So you need to give it a little bit more so that it meets over. So from your last gusset point, if you measure 2 inches, that gives you your measurement, which was half of this one, plus 1/4 of an inch to overlap. Does that make sense? Okay, So it's mirror imaged and 2 inches. Going down to our last gusset down here, 2 inches. And over to this one, 2 inches. Are you completely and utterly bamboozled now? Yeah, there you go. So if you're starting from that end, you're going to measure in 2 inches. Then you're going to measure 3/4 of an inch. And then another 3/4 of an inch, because they are your gussets. All of these are fold lines. Then you're going to measure over 3.5 inches. Then you're going to so now it's just back the other way. 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, and then 2 inches. So on your 2 inch mark at the end, that's the end of your paper. The other reason I like to start in the centre and work out is if I'm a little bit wonky by the time I get there, I've got extra sitting here and it's not cut right off. So this was my centre point, this one and this one. I don't need those marks anymore, okay? So they are not fold marks. Your first one is, and I'm going to need the bigger ruler here. So you can score these on a scoreboard if you wish, but I find with paper, you've got to be very careful that you don't cut all the way through. So I tend to just put my ruler. So it's a little bit off my line. Not too much, just a little bit. Lift that up. Okay. Fold that over onto that line, keeping your paper nice and straight, and give it a push. Okay. Now we're going to fold it back onto that next gusset line. So your little pencil mark is already there. So you're just going to match up your pencil marks onto a fold line and fold it down like so. Okay, here's your next pencil line, which was for the other gusset, the last bit of the gusset. Sit your ruler on it, lift it up, and fold it over. With any luck, it'll come out where your other gusset finishes. So now what you've got is your plate. Does that make sense? If I completely bamboozled you, I'm sorry if I have. So now you can get your bone folder or your scorer, your scratcher or anything else. And so that's one side of your bag. So now you're going to do it the other side. So here's your original gusset line, first gusset line. So sit your ruler against it and fold it in. It'll just give you that score mark. Okay, so that's that one. Give it a push with your finger. Going back to your next score part, your little marks that you've done with your pencil. Put them right on the edge. Do the same down the other side. Hold that and that and give that a push down. Okay, so what we've created is this bit again. So this is the inside of the bag. So now we're going to fold this back over again so that it lines up either with your pencil mark or the original gusset that you've got there, the original fold line. All right, so now we've got that. Give that a nice little push. And you've just got your areas left back here. So you'll see, even though I've been nice and careful, sometimes your paper is not 100% straight. So this is where my pencil line is. So I just want to make sure that that's now going to be straight. So here's my little bag. I want to go down that line. That's still nice and straight. So I'm going to cut down that line, which is my pencil mark. So I'm going to turn him over and just cut straight down that pencil line. When I find a blade. Here we go. Right, don't chuck those bits out. They work great for all sorts of things. So, there's one side. This side needs to adhere to there. So you'll see your pencil line will come past. So what you've got is 1/4 of an inch in here that will be glued together. Okay, trim that one. And then we just need to straighten up our bag, top and bottom, because our sides are right. I've set it on my grid. My sides are true and correct. That's all nice and even. So if I go there to there, there to there, that's all nice and even. So now I can just trim up top and bottom. So I do want that bottom section all nice and even. So I'm just going to trim up a little bit off that bottom because it's longer than I need at the moment anyway. Right, so now I've got an even bottom. So to glue this one together, a little bit different. I'm not folding up the bottom piece. What we're going to do is glue this little section. So I'm going to glue on here up about 1/4 of an inch. Because if you look at gusseted bags, they're quite often got a little bit down the bottom that's just all glued. So sitting that in. All right, do the same on this side for this one. Okay, so let me turn him over. You can't really see that glue's there anyway. Now, when we glue this guy together, we need to glue this bit down. We need to glue this bit down. We need all of this. So what we're going to do is one side at a time. So we're going to glue that bit and down along here, which will take it all the way through. And then we can start gluing up here. This one, we need to do the other bit. So one at a time, if the glue's going to work. So I'm going to stick to that around about 1/4 of an inch because I like that flat look at the bottom. Okay, so there's that one. And he's just going to sit over, line up, like so. Okay, this one we're going to glue down here, we're going to glue up there, and we're about to glue up here as well. So we want our edge again, as close as you can to the edge. If you've got the wobbles like me, that's fine. Right, so there's that one. We're going to go on this one. Right, now what we want to do is from here, where we were, across our 1/4 of an inch, or round about. Okay, and that when it folds, so hold your gussets in. You've got, because it's glue and not double-sided tape, you've got time to maneuver it and flatten it down, stretch it all out. So here is our gusseted bag. Just like a bought one. But it can become any size that you like. Again, if it's too long, chop it off. Simple as that. If you want to, use the pinking shears or the decorative scissors again to give it that lunch bag look. If you pick that up, would you know that it was one that we'd just made or one that you'd purchased? That's why I like packaging, because I can make these to any size I want. Okay, so that's what this one is. Now when I stick this one in, and I'm going to do this one now, so I'm going to go back over to my altered book. I've got pages, you know, this is ready for journaling. It's just a piece of ledger paper and I've popped a stamp on there. This is just a piece of background paper. What I want to do with this is he will fit in here like that. But to stick it down, oh, one more thing I want to show you with them first. Right, the other thing, see how they're like that? I'm not overly keen on that. So what I tend to do is stick that bit down. Okay, that's just a me thing. And I do it on, if I purchase bags that are gusseted or whatever else, I will do the same thing to them. I will just stick that section down as well. It still works a treat, but it's held in place down there. What I want to do with the one that I've already decorated, how long are we going? 51 minutes, got a bit quick, is make it into a double pocket. So I'm going to glue along here, down here, and along there. Okay, so that I've got a pocket here, and then I've got a gusseted pocket up there. So, just going straight along the top. And then what I use them for is other journal cards with tabs. I've been working a lot on my old Project Life cards that I've got floating around. So many of them. So I will cover those to match whatever I'm doing, pop a tab or something like that on them, and utilise those as my journal cards at the moment. So you're going to go there, like so. So that is all adhered in. That side, and that side. I have a gusset up here, and I have a pocket in here. I'm just going to let that dry. While it's drying, I will show you the other book and show you what I mean. So this is a smaller, this is a smaller one again. Same background, bit of ledger. But you can see that I've got a gusseted, okay? But I also, on the side, have an old Project Life card that I've decorated as well. So they're a great way to add extra. And, you know, you can fill this with lots of little, hang on, let's have a look. I'll grab a container full of finished. Right, will they fit in there? Do I need small ones? You know, I can keep filling that with all sorts of little ones. As many as I like in there. And they all just sit in there beautifully. They're a great thing to give us secret journaling spots. You could have a letter folded up in there as well. Got them all. So they're just one of those great little things that you've made yourself. Whoop. Sorry. I'm all over the show today, aren't I? Wow. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. So easy to create. I've lost all the others. Got that one that's drying. I don't know, in here somewhere. There. And we had our other little one that we made. That, oh no, here it is. It's so easy. Either just as a standard on its own paper bag or a gusseted one. So easy. Hope you've enjoyed this. See, I promised I would get back to the altered book. We'll get back onto it more. If you did like it and you've stuck with me, thank you. Please give me a thumbs up if you haven't subscribed. I'd love you to subscribe. Thank you, guys. Till next time, happy crafting. Bye.